From the moment the first primitive humans sat around a fire and painted images on cave walls, storytelling has been a trait unique to human civilization. The foundation of storytelling is the ability to elicit emotions from words and images. Film is one of the most recent storytelling mediums that harnesses this relationship, and one that exists today as a visual art form that effectively captures the essence of the human experience. Across his 5-decade career, filmmaker Steven Spielberg has brought to the world stories and characters that epitomize the power of empathetic storytelling. His rich collection of films bridges the gap between the audience and the silver screen.
If I had to single out one area to which I have an utter devotion, it would be with my preoccupation with the idea. The experience of that obsessive focus, of having an idea and actually being able to photograph it. That's been the magic potion for me ever since.
A major figure in the new Hollywood era of American cinema that sprung up in the 1960s and 70s, Spielberg is a student of the golden era of motion pictures, with many prominent inspirations that include storytellers like John Ford, Frank Capra, Walt Disney, David Lean, William Wyler, Akira Kurosawa, and Stanley Kubrick. From a young age, Spielberg developed a deep fascination with movies. His journey in filmmaking started during his teenage years, when he would create short amateur films that paid homage to his cinematic idols.
I think the big seminal moment in my life was when I saw Lawrence of Arabia for the first time. After that movie, after that experience, I wanted to make films, not just as a hobby, but I wanted to go into the profession.
Since then, Spielberg has channeled his unique style into his work, directing his movies with the audience in mind. A master of dynamic camera work and a champion of state-of-the-art effects, Spielberg has tackled a variety of genres with stories both big and small, fictional and historical. Spielberg's films reflect his early life, exploring universal themes of family and childhood, often featuring ordinary, relatable characters and extraordinary situations.
I know that my movies, are kind of rubber bands, and sometimes even stretching to the breaking point between genres, between a science fantasy or science fiction genre, or between an adventure horror film, and then all the historical films I make. So I do vacillate back and forth between things that don't need research to authenticate the truth, because the imagination is the imagination.
Spielberg's filmography is the very definition of visual storytelling, showcasing meticulously composed shots that demonstrate the capabilities of blocking, framing, camera angles, and editing. He employs master shots and long takes, referred to as the Spielberg Oneer, to manipulate mise-en-scene and convey vital story information without cutting or excessive movement. Where most filmmakers would probably use 2 or 3 shots, Spielberg typically just uses 1. He often uses reflections in mirrors, glass, or water to show 2 or more subjects on screen simultaneously without cutting between them. There's also the Spielberg face, a well-known technique where a character's close-up shot captures a wide range of emotions, allowing the audience to connect with the character on screen. Spielberg also reframes shots to change the focus of the subject and sometimes hides the technical boundaries of visual effects. In this brief example from Jurassic Park, he deftly blends blocking and visual effects with cinematography and editing in just one 10-second shot.
Turn the light off, turn the light off.
In this shot, the escaped T-Rex bumps the Ford Explorer car containing Alan Grant and Ian Malcolm, and then notices the commotion in the other vehicle up ahead. Spielberg reframes the shot by pushing in toward the car's large windshield just as the dinosaur turns her head and walks toward the other vehicle. The T-Rex steps back into frame, but this time, instead of a mechanical animatronic, the dinosaur appears as a digital CGI effect. Spielberg's swift camera movement and the natural movement of the scene's action hide the transition between the two mediums in plain sight, all while keeping Dr. Grant's terrified facial reaction squarely in the rearview mirror for the audience to see. One shot accomplishing multiple effects all at once. Steven Spielberg's visual language works so well that one can watch his films without the sound and understand the gist of the story. But why would anyone do that? Because in that case, one would miss a critical component of Spielberg's films: music. The music score is perhaps the most potent emotional catalyst that Spielberg has used to its fullest extent in his filmography. His most frequent collaborator in this field is John Williams, who has scored 29 of Spielberg's 34 feature-length films. Williams heavily uses leitmotifs as musical themes that represent characters, locations, or emotions, and this is clear in nearly every one of Spielberg's films. From the ominous shark theme in Jaws, to the triumphant march in Raiders of the Lost Ark, and the heartbreaking violin strings in Schindler's List. Spielberg skillfully uses music to guide the audience's emotional journey throughout his films.
Every movie I've ever made has come from some place, whether conscious or unconsciously, emotional and deep.
Movies serve as a portal to the timeless art of human storytelling, and Steven Spielberg is a skilled guardian of this tradition. His enduring status as the most commercially successful director of all time is unquestionable, as he continues to inspire and influence newer storytellers. Through his distinctive lens, Steven Spielberg's movies have crossed international boundaries and captivated countless audiences for generations to come.
When you have a dream, sometimes a dream almost whispers. And I've always said to my kids, the hardest thing to listen to, your instincts, your human personal intuition, always whispers, it never shouts. Very hard to hear. So you have to, every day of your lives, be ready to hear what whispers in your ear. It very rarely shouts. And if you can listen to the whisper, and if it tickles your heart, and it's something you think you want to do for the rest of your life, then that is going to be what you do for the rest of your life, and we will benefit from everything you do.